This segment is titled, Epstein Probably Did Survive. Brett Weinstein explains why.
Now I want to get to the reason that I think Epstein probably did survive.
Before you do, does it matter?
Yes and no. I mean, for one thing.
It seems to me that he was a puppeteer, but he wasn't, it seems, a brilliant puppeteer.
Well, let's put it this way. If he survived, that describes a landscape of people who participated in dodging justice for him, in hoodwinking the public, in breaking the justice system. So the point is, that's a vast crime of its own, right? We had a right to...
That's a different question from, does it matter if he still lives?
Well,
if he lives, then that implies more crimes yet.
It implies more crimes yet. But it also, I think, is suggestive of where we should be looking for this power to be continued to be wielded. So to the extent that the thing is still alive, Epstein having survived is meaningful because, wow, is it an important feature of the Game of Thrones that's being conducted.
What you're seeing here, this is the funnel. This is the end stage of the funnel. They're in a totally different reality right now, right? So you guys might be spamming shit on chat, but this makes perfect sense to everybody listening. It's like, yes, they've been prepped for this for the past 2 years listening to this crazy shit. This woman right here, by the way, is his wife also. And I think both of these people are PhD level degree holders. So they're not just like random retards either. It's just like, I don't even know how many of these comments are real. When I saw his interview from jail, he was as far from suicidal as possible. He seemed almost smug. I'm a licensed security installer. This is beyond sketchy. A suburban police beat cop on his first day at work should have been able to recover the footage.
So I think that the game theory, quite apart from the evidence, and there is evidence that's weird. There's evidence that there was a decoy vehicle when Epstein supposedly killed himself, designed to mislead the press as to what vehicle to follow. Could you put up the evidence of the hard drive having been wiped? So, okay, I tweeted nothing to see here, literally, in response to an account called Brian Allen, who says, newly released documents show an FBI agent removed the hard drive from the jail's camera, wiping all the footage from the night Jeffrey Epstein died.
When? When was it wiped? Was this months after, like, images were taken of the disc? Or what is this even about? Or did they fabricate whole new footage, or?
And then if you look at the documents, which are unfortunately a little blurry, I think I have a copy here. It's the second one, Jen. So this one is a document, appears to be the interview of a witness who has been redacted on 3/12/2020. It's page 2 of 2, page 1.
How do people get sucked in? You make it sound like a black hole with no escape. Is that your theory? If so, well, yeah, if you're on the For You pages, there's no escape. They're gone. This was the thing that I described before. Now I've kind of like fully fleshed it out. But remember how before I would tell you, like, man, if a friend messages me, have you seen this Candace Owen thing? I know that I have like 6 months left with that friend until they're forever gone. And this has happened multiple times to me in my real life with people who are not like chronically online lunatics. Like, this has just happened. Now I understand the reason why is because once they're getting that in their feed and they didn't go out and seek it out, if they continue to scroll on the infinite feeds, they're just being presented more and 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 more of that stuff. I can try to correct on 1 or 2 things, but I'm just one voice against the thousands that they're getting, shoved into their infinity scrolls. And it's impossible. It's impossible for them to, unless you cut off access. You have to cut off access from those scrolls. But I mean, obviously that's the whole thing, yeah.
1 of 2 is also included here. It says, told to start working on the system, then Redacted started removing the bad drives in order to rebuild the DVR. Redacted advised that an FBI agent was the one who pulled out the DVR. Redacted also advised that he knew that by replacing both hard drives, the system would be wiped, and that he had advised personnel at MCC of that.
MCC is the correctional facility where Epstein was?
Yeah. So there is evidence. The story that we are given is that there was massive failure in the technology at the prison site.
It's bad luck.
Well, I think there is massive failure of the technology. It's not well maintained, which of course leaves open the option to make.
It takes a special type of person to get pulled into it and be able to realize that they are wrong and try to challenge themselves. Yeah, of course, it's not like a normal thing. And it shouldn't be a normal thing because you kind of trust what other people are saying around you, and this is how we build our world. You have to have some trust of the people around you and the things you hear around you, right?
To hide something with technological failures. But the claim here, which I find frankly extraordinary.
The claim in what you just read.
Yeah, is that that there were failures of multiple drives. There was only one drive, I think, that was likely to have the footage. It had failed, and in order to replace it, to get the system back up and running after his death, they knew that it would wipe the data off this drive. Now, that...
I don't know if that's what that paragraph said at all, but okay.
Contravenes my understanding of how most drives work. Whether this was a physical disk drive or an SSD, there's no reason that memory should be volatile, and of course the FBI should have captured whatever drive was removed, and
True.
There's, of course, an industry that specializes on recovering data, even deleted data, from hard drives and things. So I don't understand what the claim even is, why it would have been deleted, but let's say that that claim is valid. Okay. why on earth, in light of the crime that was committed, would you not have moved heaven and earth to preserve whatever evidence was there? Because the question about whether he killed himself is painfully obvious, especially in light of the failure. The guards were asleep.
I just don't get how people can fall into some of the insane stuff like Candace Owens shit, MAGA stuff. I kind of get, but I don't see how anyone could believe Charlie Kirk is a time traveler communicating via astral projection. Well, the problem is, like, once you've broken down everything, like, I think it's possible to make people believe anything, right? Like, every single part of our online media apparatus, and fuck that, even just go to social media. Like, if there's a post about cops, it's how the system is corrupt, and the cops are going to investigate themselves. If you post a thing about layoffs, it's probably because there was major profit at the large corpo and they're trying to cut all the people out. If you post a thing about foreclosures on housing, it was probably some hedge fund that bought up the homes and it evicted all the people. If you bring up something, like, every single bad thing in your life can be traced back to some malicious actor that's part of the system. It's why the populism shit is so popular right now, is because it is the whole system and every part of it is rigged and corrupt against you, and it's capitalism and corporations and the police forces and the Epstein class and everything. And it's like, Jesus, every fucking thing, everything is like that now.
The camera system wasn't working in the right place. Some dude had been moved into his cell, some murderer. So there's all kinds of reasons that you would want to be able to nail down exactly what happened if that's what you were trying to do. And it is very convenient that the hard drive apparently got wiped in an attempt to repair the system.
Have you had different experiences where you try to explain to them how the loop works and how dangerous it is? Like, is there anything we can do other than abolishing these For You pages, or at least removing news from the algorithm? I used to speak about this more in the past. I haven't brought it up in a while, but one thing that I said that was so illuminating to me, I think I just totally lucked into this. I either had a good teacher or a good textbook. In high school, I took an AP Psych class. So my guess is probably this is equivalent to like a Psych 101 class. And I feel like the only thing we did all year long, it must have been other stuff, but I feel like the biggest thing we did all year long was just learn how untrustworthy the human brain is in its natural state. That you can, like, you have so many different memory biases, eyewitness testimony is just horrendously unreliable. The way that you remember and recall things is not like a one-to-one recording of an event. The way that you encode for memory, the way that you... just like so many things that are like unreliable about your brain. And I left that class like thinking about that a lot. It stuck with me for some reason. Like, ooh, there's like a lot of, you got to be careful. There's a lot of weird shit. This was also about the time that I was coming off of my huge like Ayn Rand kick. And I started to realize like, okay, well, I became an atheist. And then I had a friend recommend me Anthem. And then I read Atlas Shrugged and I became a full-on fucking objectivist. And I was ready to like give my whole life for the cause and fucking supported Ron Paul and everything else. And it's like, well, wait a second. What are the chances that I became an atheist? And the very first author that I picked up happened to have the answer to everything. Okay, fuck, I'm probably just an impressionable young fucking retard. That's more likely than not that's what's happened, rather than I just stumbled upon the author who's correct about everything, right? But our brain in our normal state is just not always the most trustworthy, unbiased deliverer of information, and there's a lot of ways that it can be manipulated, but most people don't think about that. Most people feel like they're pretty well in control of what they think and what they see, and they can audit their own information. So when you start to present to somebody like, hey, you might be part of some like wacko fucking media ecosystem, like you're asking that person to accept as a premise that their mind could be totally wrong in evaluating every part of their reality almost. It's the equivalent of telling somebody like, listen, I just wanted to chat with you. I understand that you've been religious, but like, I think God is not real, bro. That's like, you're about to rewrite my whole reality. Like that's a very, 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 very tough call to make. And I don't even know if we have anything, like there's just nothing comparable to the internet shit these days, I don't think. Because it's just so much. It's so much bombardment with information, with people controlling the top of that funnel.
Guards were asleep. The camera system wasn't working in the right place. Some dude had been moved into his cell, some murderer. So there's all kinds of reasons that you would want to be able to nail down exactly what happened if that's what you were trying to do. And it is very convenient that the hard drive apparently got wiped in an attempt to repair the system, if that happened. Okay, but I don't think any of the evidence we have so far is more than suggestive. And some of it, I think, turns out to be garbage. So there was a brief flurry of excitement over the fact that Epstein appears to have had a Fortnite account, a video game, that continued to be active after his death. Fortnite put out a press release in which they said that some other account had changed their name to look like Jeffrey Epstein's account as a prank or whatever. Hilarious. But the point is, okay, so that could be just some lone person doing something stupid, or it could be what's called flooding the zone, where you're trying to figure out what happened, and lots of garbagey conspiracy theories are introduced.
Is Brett a tier 1 or tier 2 or whatever you call them? I feel like Brett is a tier 2. I think this is a sucker who actually believes this shit. When I look at these people, there are just people that I perceive as being not very confident and can be like kind of like drawn along with the crowd. This is a total like psychological analysis. I don't have any proof of that. I don't have any reason to think that, but I think that he got his feelings personally hurt over the not Evergreen, that's the college or whatever, where I think he was in the right. I thought that was fucking retarded. He was one of the victims of peak woke, I think, where was Evergreen the school that he taught at? Basically, I think this was like at the heyday of like this BLM shit, where the black students and the woke, self-hating white students were like, we're going to have a day where no white people should go to school to celebrate how black people used to not be able to go to segregated schools or whatever. And Brett wrote a whole thing where he's like, if there are students who want to take a day off because they feel like it, helps them remember this particular thing or whatever, I think that's super great and they should do that. I do feel like it's a little bit weird to tell white people to take a day off for this. I don't know if I'm exactly comfortable with that. Students are free to do what they want, but like, I'm going to show up and teach my class. And he got eviscerated for that. Here's
my point. Put the evidence of something fishy around Epstein's death aside. And let's do this from pure game theory. Epstein, whether it was the purpose of what he was doing, one of the purposes, or not the purpose at all, had a lot of compromise on some of the most important, powerful people on Earth. Members of the royal family, people at the top of science, universities, government. He had a lot of compromise on powerful people. That means two things. One, it means that he would have perceived a certain amount of danger, because to the extent that people had done things in his presence that then jeopardized them later, the temptation to eliminate him so that stuff did not come to light must have been on a lot of people's minds.
Yep.
And two, he had the purest, most refined material with which to fashion a dead man switch. The term ring a bell?
I think you talked about this last time.
So the point is, he would have understood.
I mean, I know what it means, but if you thought I didn't, it's possible that some people in our audience don't.
A dead man switch.
Oh, shit, I understand now. I'm so sorry. I get this now. This is the evolution of the response to my question. Not saying that he heard my response, but I always ask people, hold on. Epstein was the most prolific blackmailer of all time, right? Yes. He did have a client book, right? Yes. So he was ready to blackmail every wealthy person on the planet, right? Yes. Then why the fuck did he get arrested? What? Why would he have been allowed to live for a single day in a U.S. federal jail arrested, knowing that he had blackmail material on every single powerful person on the planet? And then, now this is the next evolution of the conspiracy. You're right, Destiny. That's why he's not even fucking dead. He escaped.
Is